All right, so welcome to another episode on AlumniLab. Today, we are really fortunate to be joined with two brilliant MBA students, one at London Business School and one at Wharton. Today, we're going to talk about kind of the end-to-end process of how you decide to go back to a MBA program, what it's like while you're here, and what's going to be happening afterwards. So thank you so much to Min and Spandana for joining us today. I was wondering if you could just let everyone know a little bit about your background, and maybe Spandana, we could start with you about what you were doing before this and why you decided to even go about applying for an MBA.
Sure, absolutely. So thank you for having me today. So as you mentioned, my name is Spandana. Prior to the MBA, I was the founder and CEO of a social enterprise called Zoeasy, which looks at matching migrant blue-collar job seekers to ethical employment opportunities. So I started that straight out of university, out of undergrad, and had been doing that for about 5 to 6 years. And, brilliant journey where we're able to establish over 20 partnerships globally. We're featured on Forbes, Financial Times. So it was an incredible journey, and we were able to impact a lot of people. But I felt like at one point my skills had kind of hit a stagnation point because I'd never really been in any form of formal employment before, and everything that I did to build up my company was very much on the go. And considering I'm based out of the UAE, it's a very nascent startup ecosystem compared to different parts of the world. So that's why I thought pursuing an MBA in a city like London would be incredible, because it provides so many different learning opportunities and can expand that skill set. So yeah, that's the reason why I applied.
And Min, what's your background? You were more so, you kind of bounced all over the world, whether that's Hong Kong, New York, Mexico City. So could you tell us a little bit about where you've been in the past and why you decided to come?
Of course. I don't know where Mexico City come from. Never really worked in there. But yes, I did passing around different world. Originally from China, and bachelor study as music, more like a music education, exchange in Germany. And then after graduate, I was doing entrepreneur, had my own company doing import-export business trading. Then after that, I joined United Airlines, working for a few years, and then decided to apply an MBA. That's more like a pre-MBA background.
So what was the ultimate driver, Span? I know you mentioned that you kind of felt like you hadn't been in this more like formal setting, and you wanted to make sure that you were really developing your skills. Min, for you, what was the motivation for going back to school?
Splenda, do you want, no, like Spandana, do you want to start first?
Oh, no, she was asking you, actually. I already answered the question.
Oh, okay, sure. So the reason I want to go back to business school, because initially during the COVID, when everything got plummeted, especially I working for the airline company, and then I decided to continue education. And because my undergrads was more music. And so I know one person who actually was an undergrad musician and got in University of Pennsylvania for a law school and working for Kirkland Elise for a big law firm lawyer. So therefore, I understand that, okay, law school in America does not require you have a law bachelor, which doesn't even have a law bachelor in America. So that was motivation for me. So, okay, I'm going to apply for law school. So I studied LSAT strongly. Doing the LSAT study, some people was asking me, what's the motivation that you want to go to law school? My answer was, I want to finish what I started. I had my own company before as import-export, and I want to continue doing the entrepreneurship. So then people say, why don't you apply for MBA? And then I say, okay, so say my bachelor, I don't have business background. You say MBA doesn't need to have a business bachelor. I say, sounds great. So what's the requirements? And people told me GMAT, GRE. So I did GMAT and GRE. So, well, don't make the same mistake I made. So you don't need that much of like exam to get in MBA, but that more like, I do want to continue education, happen to be understand that's how MBA doesn't require, whatever the background you have, and then study hard, apply for MBA. That's more like motivation. Want to continue my education.
Yeah, so 3 different difficult tests to master, and you had to do all 3 of them. That's pretty intense. Yeah, that's pretty intense.
Within 6 months, I did like all 3 plus a TOEFL.
Oh my goodness, That is a lot to do in the span of 6 months. What was the process for the two of you after being, because you graduated 2014, 2015 kind of timeline, I think. So what was it like having to go back and rewrite the GMAT, especially while you were working in really kind of intense industries? Spandana, what was it like for you?
So I'm not a very good standardized tester, let's just put it that way. Because I've never really had to do any of that before. So even when I was applying for my undergrad, for instance, I applied to universities in the UK, and they don't necessarily need standardized testing as opposed to the US. So this was actually my first exposure to standardized testing, and it did not go great. Let's just put it that way. I mean, it was really difficult getting back into it because, you know, I had at this point, like, I think I've been away from education for about 6 years now. And it was just really hard kind of putting that discipline in place to be able to, you know, get your work done, but also set aside time to be able to like really sit down and get through it. And I wrote the GMAT 4 times, so it was quite a grueling journey for me. But I think one thing that really helped me through the process was one, not just like support from family and friends, but also I realized that I needed significant help, and it wasn't something that I could get out of just, you know, going through the books and the material that you have. So I'm actually really grateful to my quant teacher. He really helped me kind of push my markup, because I was really good with the verbal side, but when it came to the quantitative side of things, it was something completely different. Like, it was never anything that I had handled before. And I think his passion for teaching in general, like, he's just such a passionate teacher that you automatically start to develop like a sense of interest for the subject as well. And he was able to like boost. So I like, honestly, I got like a 36 or something on my quant initially when I had done it.
Yeah.
And he was able to boost it from a 36 to a 47. So like it was a huge jump. So for that, I'm super thankful. So yeah, that was a little bit of my journey there.
Yeah, and I think that's important too, because sometimes it's discouraging if you write it the first time and you don't get the score you want, and you're like, am I ever going to make it to the business school that I actually want with this score? And it's not necessarily that you write it once and that's what you're going to get for the rest of the time. As you like clearly showed, you can go from a 36 to a 47 on the quant, no problem. And versus Min, you seem to be like you are a standardized test pro. What was the GMAT like for you when you were doing the LSAT, the GMAT, and the GRE in that 6-month period?
Well, first of all, I'm not a standard test person. My background is music. Okay, I'm very good at know how to do auditions. So I'm very good standard for audition type of person rather than standard test. Okay, that's completely different. So I'm the other side of different than Spandana, because my verbal initially was very bad, and because this is my first English in general language test, not test on language, but using English to an exam ever in my life. So yes, it was difficult, but good to know that my quant was amazing. So my quant got full score the first time I tried. So then I think so put that way, that was 2020, right? I remember the time we like applied and doing the GMAT thing. 2020. Yeah, it is 2020. So since I was working for airline, and then the COVID, everything was everywhere in the world, and I do not want to travel around. So I locked myself, there's quarantine in New York. I locked myself inside the apartment and just study every single day. My study schedule, which is I learned from China during my high school. I wake up every single day, 6 o'clock in the morning, standardized, and then, you know, don't even like wash my face or something. I live in an apartment building, and then there's like garden in the 8th floor. So 6 o'clock, get up, grab a book, anything, book or whatever I need to study that day, go to the 8th floor, there's like garden, walk around, just walk and reading like I used to do under my high school times. And 1 hour, 7 o'clock, exactly 7 o'clock, got back to the room, cooking some breakfast, and then wash my face, clean myself up. Around 7:30, start to study, go to the exam, everything until 12 o'clock, cook a lunch for 30 minutes, 12:30 study until 6 p.m. when my roommate finish her work, and then we go outside to walk around the park for like 1 hour or 1 hour and a half, and come back around 7-ish and study until 11 exactly, go to bed and memorize all the English words because GRE require and the LSAT require a lot of verbal words, and memorize all the words exactly at 12, fall asleep. So that's my schedule for every single day for the almost 6 months, so like 5 months non-stopping. I didn't skip 1 day or twice for the whole entire 6 months. That's my study schedule. And that got my other, all the vocabulary going up. For the quantitative, I think on my high school math was pretty good. So I booked one study for quantitative, and then the teacher just helping like organize all the important tips of which one you should testing, memorize everything, have those notebook next to me, take notes of what formula should I memorize, and then memorize all the formula. So same thing, memorize a lot of times, memorize the formula for quantitative, memorize all the vocabulary for the LSAT and GRE, just because English is my fourth language. And then, so that's how I, got all 4 of my exam finished within 6 months.
That is a very intensive schedule. My goodness. I guess building on that though, different schools put relative importance on the exam versus experience. What did you feel was the most important part when you were going through and applying for LBS and Wharton? Like what advice were you given by others, or what advice would you give to people who are applying now? Maybe Spandana, we'll start with you.
Sure. So, I mean, my GMAT score was not great, I'll be honest. It wasn't a great score at all by any means. So I feel like although it is an important component, it's not the only component when it comes to the application process. And I had only applied to 2 schools during my entire application process. So it was like, it's either Harvard or it's LBS. And I didn't really want to kind of, go with the strategy of applying to 10 different schools, because I knew these were the only 2 that I really, really wanted to go to. And my GMAT score was a 640. I'll be honest, it's not exactly a high score. So a lot of people were a little surprised that I wanted to apply to both of these schools with that GMAT score. But what I really harnessed was my strength for writing, and my ability to be able to showcase my stories and the impact that I've been able to create, be it through my company or outside of work. So I would highlight a lot of those stories and try to align them to the values of the school, and really showcase, one, what is it that I want to get out of this experience and what I want to get out of the MBA, but 2, also what would I contribute back to the communities that I wanted to be a part of. So I really made sure that those came out. And what I also did was share a lot of these stories and these essays with my friends who have already been to B schools and who have been to like good B schools. And I would get like recommendations from all of them on how to kind of rework the material that I'd written up. Similarly, I also talked to a lot of people from both MBA programs. So and particularly looked at the areas of interest to me. So like, I'm very big on social impact, venture capital, the startup space. So I actively reached out to people that were within these clubs, or tried to participate in some of the events that they had in relation to these clubs before the school itself, so that they can really see that you're engaged and you're actually passionate about going to that school. So I think although the GMAT does play an important role, and definitely it does depend on where you're from as well, there are some parameters that go with it, and it is unfortunate, but it is a way for them to be able to filter out students. But I feel like especially schools that are in the top 10 ranking, they generally will look at your overall experience and profile as well, because I got interviews from both schools, and that would not have happened if they had only looked at it from a GMAT perspective, right? So that would be my 2 cents.
That sounds like a pretty lengthy process. How long in general did it take you to go about writing all of this?
Oh, it took a while. I think I started I started January 2021. So that was when I began everything, like be it GMAT, be it going through the application process. And these are long applications. It's not, there's a, like LBS has a lot of short essays within the application itself. And kind of similar to HBS as well. Whereas HBS's essay, it's one big essay that you need to write, but the question is so broad that you have no idea how to like hone in on your key strengths. So it takes so much brainstorming to be able to put that together, and the number of people that you have to reach out to just get the right feedback. Yeah, it is a long process, but I think it just depends on person to person, right? Like everyone has different timelines, but that was the timeline that I began with.
Yeah, so you started in January 2021 versus Min, you started back in 2020 with all of your different preparation of all your exams and everything like that. What do you think, coming from a school that's in the States, do you think there's relatively more importance placed on GMAT and test scores versus the essay? What are you thinking? We heard Spandana talk about Harvard, but what about Wharton specifically?
So first of all, I also apply for like different schools out of the United States, and everything I say is more personal opinion. So please don't quote me on a broader view. And I'm not like a student's ambassador, so don't know how much true information will be there. But from a personal perspective, I think the US school overall taking a look at your overall application as a whole rather than standard test. To be honest, like the reason why I put a test very important is because when I start to apply, and then people telling me is that I'm gonna go against other people from China. So the pool of like for Chinese people, these every person seems like very good at standard tests. So when you go against with other people who are high score, and then you need to be a high score pool. So that's what I heard, that's what I learned. And also to higher my chance, obviously the higher score will be helping, but then that's just one factor. So I think the reason why like I perhaps got in Wharton offer and also got in different interview from like top tier schools such as Harvard, such as Chicago Booth, such as Northwestern, such as UVA. The reason why, because overall, so because my background, I'm more like entrepreneurship. I have my own company, which is I lost about a few $1 million and then get back. So and then those about the essay is what differentiate myself than other people coming from music background. I think if you only asking about testing scores, so there's not sure of people who, I'm sure there's plenty of people who maybe get 100% on the test. You know, those top schools never show the people who are smart on the academic or smart on the test, but overall show what differentiate you than others, and what do you know, why you want to attend Wharton MBA, what Wharton's like program is fitting you, why you want to attend like LBS or Harvard, what specific Harvard is good for you, and then what specific Stanford is good for you. For example, if you want to do entrepreneurship, perhaps Stanford is a little bit like more entrepreneurial, right? If you want to do, you know, different, well, again, every school has their different things. You want to check with the school, you want to check and go school that website. So one thing I do want to share is you can achieve anything that you set your mind to. Nobody telling me how difficult this whole entire process is, and then nobody telling me like how many people around the world will apply for MBA. I have no clue. I don't even know what this MBA means when I apply for them, but now I'm here. And after I received like 5 different offers from different schools. So once you set your mind to it, study, know yourself, more important, know yourself, and then know what school you want to go, and go talk to the school, talk to alumni, people attending schools, asking for ambassadors and ask questions to see what can best to bring yourself in front of any other people, and then set up that way, go straight forward. It's okay if some school rejected you, which is everybody happens, right? School gonna reject you. Not everybody apply for 10 school and a 10 school get offered. Don't go apply 10 school. You don't need that much, but just saying. So set up, know which school you wanted, and if school rejected you, it's fine. That means it's like the program not suitable for you, and then find the better ones. So I got rejected by, I think, Cornell and Duke, but I got accepted at Wharton and Booth. So like, I don't know why, to be frank. I never asking them why, but it's looking at whole application. That's
Yeah, and
more.
I think that's such a great point. And even building on what Spandana said before, of it really depends as well where you're coming from. You mentioned that you needed to have this more competitive test score because you were coming from an environment where there were really good test scores. So that was just to get you into kind of like the level of consideration. And then from there, you're so right. It's about your story and about whether or not you fit the program and whether or not you're actually going to enjoy yourself while you're there. I think those are really, really great points. You brought up something about Stanford and entrepreneurship. Both of you are entrepreneurs, but I want to ask, kind of hone in on whether you feel like you're getting what you want out of this experience. Maybe Min, will start with you. Do you feel like you are achieving what you want, given what you set out to initially wanting to go to law school and then changing to an MBA?
Yes, the answer is absolutely yes. I actually beyond my expectations right now it's my second year MBA, especially also doing exchange in LBS, and both school gave me different learning experience. So what I want to say is that once I got in Wharton, well, yes, first of all, I always want to become a lawyer just because I didn't know MBA existed. Or I know it existed, but I never thinking something for me. It's like, am I asking you like, hey, there's like astronaut existing, but you don't thinking you're gonna be an astronaut one day, right? That's the same thing for me. I feel like MBA is existing, but nothing to do with me. But then once I started the application process, of course, I've consulted a lot, speaking with a lot of people. And then once I got in, first of all, very overwhelming in a positive way, overwhelming of meeting great people around the world. They have, in my year, we have 82 countries, students coming from all over the world. We have 51% female and 49% male existing in Wharton in my year. And then academic wise, I learned so many things such as statistic, which is I never even encountered in my bachelor's. I learned something called finance, called accounting, which is, obviously in my company, I read them, but I don't really do the detail works, right? Then it's very interesting when I understand all the details, when I go through the whole entire year, I study academic, and also go through the whole entire year of more impressive, I'm going to say, it's in the recruiting side. The recruiting for investment banking is insanely crazy, awesome. You're going to learn a lot, and then is out of the tunnel, you're going to be switched to a different person. And then, so that's also some part is overwhelming, but greatly for me. Second year, meeting more people around the world, especially LBS, also giving me some great experience of understanding how Europe overall the market looks like. My point is, once you know what you want, when you do the application, study the school, study the culture, asking people. Once you get in, you know what you want. Once I got in, I know I want to go to investment banking just because when I sold my company back then, I working with investment bankers. I know I want to become one of the smart people. So I set my mind to investment banking and asking people, how do I become an investment banker? Follow the process of when to storytelling, when to do a resume, when to networking, when to attend all the events, go through all the internal, invite on the events, study all the testing, also go to school at the same time. You need to get a good score of finance accounting to be able to answer all the questions of the interview. Once you know what your goal is, follow each step, and you will achieve something beyond expectations. So do it right now. Do know what you want, starting from the application phases. That's very important. So overall, great experience.
I'm glad to hear that you're getting what you wanted out of it, and also you're having the experience of being at Wharton and having your experience in the UK as well. It's really nice to hear that. Spandana, what about you? You talked about again the soft skills and building your company. Do you feel like you're getting what you wanted out of the experience at LBS?
Absolutely. I think the reason why I wanted to come and do an MBA, like honestly, primarily was to be able to broaden my horizons and skills. And one of the best ways to do that is through the people that you get to meet in your class. And honestly, I feel, considering how diverse our class is, I mean, we have 66 nationalities from all over the world. I mean, it's crazy how many different kinds of people you get to meet, and not just that, but like different professional backgrounds and so many different kinds of skills. My own study group, for example, one of my study group mates can build a financial model in his sleep. Like it's at the back of his hand. And I would have never like even imagined knowing how to do these things. So I feel like the fact that you get to meet so many people from diverse backgrounds and different walks of life, it really just opens up your mind to so many different perspectives. And I think I've learned so much just from speaking to my peers, more than anything. And of course, like, you know, your academics, the classes are extremely engaging. But one thing that I think really changed my perspective as well, and really at least got my noggin going, I would say, is probably the case prep through consulting. So my plan was actually to never really go into consulting. I actually wanted to explore the VC space and really understand what the investor's mindset looks like, because I'm good at like raising impact funds and impact investing, but I never really understood it from the VC's perspective. And I am still pursuing that. Like, I have been going on a lot of treks and talking to different people in that area. However, consulting was something that I thought would be really interesting to do, just primarily because you get to work on different cases of different kinds of industry. So you need to employ a lot of different skills and just be really innovative with your thinking. And I feel like that also builds a lot of your core skills as well. And I just wanted to explore it because I felt, you know, I've already been in the startup space and the PVC space for so long. It would be nice to do something that's completely different. And when are you going to get to do that? Unless at business school, when you have 2 years to explore and see what you're really passionate about. So funnily enough, I actually applied only a week before the deadline. So I had started my prep for consulting a week before the deadline. But then I feel like that entire journey, even just like talking to my classmates and being able to get tips from them on how to do it, especially considering I was a latecomer, actually made a big difference. So being able to case prep with other people who are going through a similar grind, you understand the pressure. But what I really love about LBS is that everyone's so collaborative and just so open to helping one another out. It's a very like healthy competition and environment that you're in. And that's what I really love about the place. And yeah, I'll be interning with BCG this summer. So I'm super excited about picking up these new skills and hopefully, you know, kind of improving my hard skills as opposed to the soft skills that I've currently developed.
And then I guess just to close off is looking back at this entire experience, whether that started in January 2021 or back in 2020, are there any tips that you would give somebody who's just starting the process? Spandana, maybe we'll start with you.
Sure, absolutely. First, research the schools, like really look into what is it that you want to get out of this program and what is it that you're looking to improve? Do you really need to do an MBA at this point as well? Like, that's a big question that you should consider and really kind of introspect before you kind of jump into that process. The second would be to one, understand the values of the school. What is it that they're looking for? What is it that they want their students to imbibe? And honestly, from the get-go, start reaching out to people, like start talking to people that are at these schools so that you can get an understanding and perspective of what it's like to be there, but also like how well you connect with these students as well, right? Like that gives you a lot of insight into it. And then don't put too much pressure on yourself. Like you know, this is at the end of the day, it is about going to B school, but if it doesn't work out, you always have next year. So don't let anything kind of discourage you in any way. Just go in with a cool head and just speak to the right people, surround yourself with positivity. And something that really worked for me was having a vision board, like seeing a 700 GMAT score and like the logos of my top schools kind of really gave me that motivation to keep moving forward. So yeah, if you're a mood board / vision board kind of person, then highly recommend doing that as well.
Just have LBS and HBS right up on there
literally,
where you can see it
on my wall every day. So.
Amazing. And Min, to close it off, do you have any final tips and tricks that you would give to students who are applying in this process?
I think Spandana actually speak a lot of it. Similar thing with her. I have a vision board in front of my face every single day with LSAT score, GMAT score, like GRE score, and TOEFL score. So put in there different logos in there as well. That's really helps. That's give you motivations. Motivation is the key to success. And Know what you want. Very, 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 very important. Know that's what you wanted, because again, you can achieve anything that you set your mind to. So don't be discarded with people telling you, you are old, you are female, you are, I don't know, like coming from musician background, what are you doing? Like, rather than doing ABC, why you want to go MBA? Such time wasting, spending. Whatever people say, let them say that's what they wanted to say. Some people, maybe it's your parents, maybe it's your friends, it's okay. They have their own mind, want to helping you. They thinking that's the best what you wanted, but is that really what you wanted? First of all, know what you want, set a goal, and then breaking into step by step. You know that's your goal, you know yourself, you know your weakness and your strengths. Okay, your weakness is you're very good at soft skills, and you perhaps a little bit bad of the score. Okay, set up a study plan. If you know I'm very good at study, but I maybe don't have enough like soft skills, okay, do something on your applications. Do some like extra work on the side that you think will be achieve you better application. Breaking into different steps. And then when you every single time achieve a small goal, give yourself a reward. Maybe the reward is like go good restaurant, or maybe the reward is one ice cream. Like, don't eat ice cream for 3 weeks until you hit that goal. And that's what I did to myself. I was like, no ice cream until the 3 weeks. Okay, it's very important. Don't give yourself whatever you wanted but give yourself until they hit that goal. And then once you achieve that small goals, the next vision is that talking to a lot of people, specifically speaking to people who are going to school at the very moment, first year, second year, and people who graduate, LinkedIn them, message them. Every school have people willing to talk to, because we all go through the process. We understand how much drain energy gonna be, how like anxiety gonna be when you don't get the thing you wanted, and when you first go to test school and you're like, oh my god, I screwed things up, but actually you did not. So your like, how to say, 心态 was in Chinese, like you have to be good on the emotion, like don't get discouraged of anything happen, even the test score. Talking to people and then asking them, people willing to help you. Remember, people really, we are here willing to helping you. We come from different background. They have like 800, 900 students in Wharton, few hundred in Harvard. They have like 400, 500 in LBS. If 3 people reject you, reach out to more. We got 300 people wanting to help you. And then asking a specific question, find people's background. Some people are gonna say, I don't like MBA. Some people are gonna say, I love MBA. Listen to why they love it and why they don't liking it. Is that something you like? They say, I love MBA because academic. Okay, I'm not really good to MBA for academic. Good. I hate MBA because academic. Okay, I love MBA because networking, because friends. Is that what you want? Yes. I go to MBA because I want to get a new job. I want to switch different industry. Is that what you want? I go to MBA because money. I go to MBA because I'm wanting to find my next journey of life. Answer the specific, listen to the specific question of the answer to the question to see, is that what you want? If that it is, okay, that may be the school you wanted to go. Then set up a goal. And then another thing is schedule an admission office hour. A lot of people don't know. Go to the website, each school, scroll them down, admissions hours, asking more specific questions to those people. They are willing to helping you. They want you to be a part of them. That's why they spend so many time to giving you like study plans, or not study plan, give you tips of how other people go through, what kind of like people they are looking for, what kind of candidates they want to be, and then talk to them. Maybe you're gonna be one of those people like eventually, right? So those are all the small steps you want to achieve. In the last, if you happen to be on the wait list, which is not happening right now, probably in a few months, you're gonna be on the wait list. Don't be discouraged. If you're on the wait list, there's things you can do. So asking for people who've done from the wait list and then become a full-time offer, know what they've done, and then continue to do so. You never know what's going to happen until the last minutes. And the very, very last tips I want to give it to you, timeline. Know which day is application deadline, and then working backwards. Deadlines October. Then when you need the test score, do you want to go around the ED, which Columbia have it, for round 1, round 2? Try not to go to round 3 and round 4, which is you're going to have a lower chance. Round 1, round 2 have a higher chance, normally speaking. Okay, again, this is like overall normally speaking. So know the deadline, working backwards. And that's the last minute tips. You do not want to miss the deadline. So I think that will be closing off. If you have more questions, more than happy to stay for a few more minutes to answer them.
Thank you, Min and Spandana. Honestly, this has been really, really wonderful. Just hearing about your experiences, going back to university, studying for the GMAT, hearing your tips, hearing that you've gotten so far, you're not done yet, but so far gotten what you really wanted out of this. So thank you so, so much. And to everyone watching, we have some lovely ambassador, Spandana right here, and you've just got so many amazing tips from Min. So I'm sure that everyone is going to enjoy this so much. And again, thank you to the two of you so, so, so much.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Pleasure of meeting you all. Good. Best of luck of all the candidates out there. You guys are gonna rock and roll, and you guys are gonna achieve everything you want to achieve. So go for it.
You can do this. I believe in you.